I'm John McPherson with a quick floating home market update. I'll keep this to about 2 minutes and just go over the main points. So far this year, through the end of October, there have been 65 sales. Looking back to 2017 and since then, and ignoring 2020 and 2021, which was absolutely crazy as far as sales went, they were very high then. I would have expected somewhere around 60 sales, maybe 55 sales so far this year through the end of October. We have had 65, so we're a little bit on the high side. With that being said, during 2024 and 2023, the sales volume still was pretty high overall. The number for sale at the end of October was 42. Now that compares pretty normally to the previous years, ignoring yet again 2020 and 2021, when at the end of October, the number for sale was very low. At 42, we're in a normal range. Going back to 2017 and around that time period through the present, I would have expected somewhere between about 35 and 50 floating homes for sale. So at 42, as of the end of October, we're definitely in a normal range. I can tell you all sorts of things. This report is so awesome. It will predict the Powerball numbers. I'm kidding about that part, but I go into quite a bit of detail about the distribution of what's for sale, how many houses are in rented slips, how many are in owned slips, what the breakdown is by price as concerns slip ownership, or whether it's in a rented slip, what the average price per square foot has been over time for floating homes. Give me a call anytime. I will send you a copy of this. I'll send you a link. We can talk about the market if you'd like, whether you're a buyer or a seller. Now, beyond this report, this is just what my guesstimate is based on previous years. I would expect that as we get into January, we're going to see about 20 floating homes for sale. We might see 25. It could be as high as 30. It could be as low as 15. But around the time period when Thanksgiving hits, Christmas is coming up, New Year's is coming up, what happens is a lot of times sellers start to take their houses off the market, suspecting that nobody is out looking for a floating home, which isn't necessarily true. There will be a lot fewer showings, but there are some serious buyers still out and about looking for floating homes for sale. And in fact, reflected by what's on this graph here, that orange dot at the beginning of the chart, we had 10 floating homes that closed. The sales closed in January of this year. So those people were out looking in November and December. With that all being said, usually it does slow down. There are fewer floating homes for sale, and it becomes a self-fulfilling, I guess, prophecy that the sales volume is going to be lower. The reason why is I get phone calls from buyers. They call me from Austin, they call from San Fran, LA, wherever they might be calling from, Denver, and they say, well, I have interest in this one floating home, but there's nothing else to choose from, so I'm not going to fly into town and check out floating homes just to see one house. If there were 2 or 3 or maybe 4, I would fly in December or January to look at homes. So I'm not saying to not take your house off the market. I'm not saying that it's a booming time to get your place sold, but it does reduce the sales volume even more. The fact that there is so little for sale causes buyers not to want to spend the money to spend their time on a hotel, fly in, buy a plane ticket and all that. In any case, I'm John McPherson. Call me anytime. We'll talk about the market. I'm John. Call me.